And a very good sunny morning to you. Welcome to sunny Mardyke for the IP20 series. All 6 games here for the first time in its history in the Mardyke in Cork, the Interprovincial Trophy T20 Festival, sponsored by Radio, and it's John Kenny along with Craig Senior and Stephen Alkin, bringing you coverage of this first game, which is the Munster Reds against the Northwest Warriors. The most important aspect of these games normally is at the toss. So let's get down to the middle and join Stephen.
It's the start of the Rario T20 series, and with me are the captains for the toss, Tyrone Kane and Shane Getgate. So let's do it.
All good, Gats? Yep. Heads. Well done. Sweet. Cheers.
So Shane, you decided to have a bowl.
Yep.
Why is that?
Just want to have a look at the conditions. It looks a good wicket, but I think it's also quite a tough ground to defend. So just first game of the 3 days, just have a bowl first, get into the field and get going, and then hopefully chase the total.
And quite a few changes in your squad for today's and the 3 days of matches. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, we've done well. We've shown we've won 2 games without the Irish lads. So obviously a big loss to miss, Hughie, Youngie, Conor Alford and Scrah as captain, but I think we're building a bit of depth and we've got a few wins on the board, so hopefully we can do the same today.
And a good opportunity for some of the youngsters coming in.
Yeah, 100%. They've been doing well in club cricket up in the Northwest, so hopefully they can bring that into today's game.
Best of luck, Shane.
Thank you.
Have a good field.
Thank you. Cheers.
And Tyrone, no choice but to bat first. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, we're happy enough. I'm not sure what I would have done, to be honest. It's always good setting a target here. Small boundaries and the sun is shining down at Cork, so happy enough.
And you've also obviously had to make changes with the absence of the Irish players, so are you happy with the people you've brought in?
Yeah, very happy. It's a great opportunity for the guys coming in. It's great for Munster to build out a squad and give some new people opportunity, so looking forward to getting going.
Okay, away you go. Good luck. Looking forward to it. 3 days of wonderful cricket in the sunshine in the Mardyke. If you happen to be around, why not come and join us?
So the toss won by the Northwest Warriors, who decided to field this early morning against the home side, the Munster Reds. And they're wearing all green today. A new outfit for the Warriors. Normally captained by Andy McBride, but after his exertions at the test, he's not playing today in this particular game. So Shane Getgate, as you've seen, taking over as captain for the Warriors. The rest of their starting 11 is Cameron Melly, big hitting William McClintock, Stephen Doheny, he'll probably keep wicket, Gavin Ralston, Jared Wilson, Shane Getgate is the captain, as I mentioned, Trent McKeegan, Aaron Gillespie comes in, number 11, new to the Warriors. Scott Macbeth is wearing number 5. Then we got Cian Robertson and number 6, Harry Zimmerman. So they will be bowling first. And the Reds, well, they'll be batting, obviously. So their captain, Tyrone Kane, Brandon Kruger, the South African, Matt Ford, likewise, Murray Cummins. Nathan Maguire has switched from the Warriors to the Reds this season, so he's starting for the Reds today, wearing 11. New introduction in Connor Fletcher, then Andy Frost, Liam McCarthy, Mick Granger, Gareth Delaney, the Irish international, and Ben White, the Irish international, all involved. So they're missing the likes of Fionn Hand and Curtis Camphor, and new signing Nicolai Damgaard, the big hitting Dutch player. He's not involved today. So we're going to get underway with the Warriors bowling from the Sunday's well end. And it looks like it's going to be Scott Macbeth. Spin straight away for the Warriors. And it's an exciting days coming up. Craig Senior from the Pembroke Streaming Service co-commentated with me for this first session, and we'll get his words and thoughts in a moment after we get this first delivery as we're underway here at the Mardyke. Umpires today, by the way, Paul Reynolds and Sam Hoddingstead, and immediately runs crack through the covers for 4. That's a good way to start it.
Statement of intent, certainly. 4 off the first ball. Scott Macbeth, he'll have to get into a rhythm very quickly.
No hanging around and waiting anymore. Scott Macbeth crashing that through the covers for 4. Nathan Maguire opening with him at the non-striker's end. Big appeal. Shake of the head from our visiting English umpire, Sam Hollingsted. He's been drafted in to assist with Paul Reynolds on the far side. That's in the air and it's coming down towards us, and it's going to go way over us and into the gardens of the background. That's a huge hit. When as you said, a statement of intent with the first ball, that's even bigger.
Yeah, that one's travelled a long way down to the River Lee. It's a lovely shot to start, and this is a great start for the Munster Reds. It really sets the tone for the rest of the day. Glorious sunshine here at the Mardyke, and already in the first over, third umpire having to bring out new balls. We may see a few of those during the day, John.
Yeah, what did you think to the decision to field first?
Well, you can understand it from the captain's point of view. They're down here for 3 days, the 3 days of this festival. He wants to see how the wicket plays. And, well, at the moment, it certainly looks nice for batting on anyway.
We'll have the Lightning and the Knights this afternoon at 3:30. That'll be our second game. Is that Nikolai Damgard is actually taking wickets? It is Nikolai Damgard, isn't it? Yeah, wearing 17. So yes, they've started with him. It wasn't on our original list. But the big hitting Dutchman shows that he can hit a big ball. So 10 off the first over so far. 6 and a maximum. Oh, inside edge. Lucky. Outfield's going to be very, very fast. And you just ride your luck at times. They're going to slash hard. That ends the over. And what a start it is. It's 14 without loss. Munster Reds having lost the toss and been put into bat.
Well, Damsgaard, he performed recently in the Alan Murray Cup up in Leinster. Hit a magnificent century off very few balls indeed in the semi-final of that competition. Couldn't repeat it in the final, but he's certainly hit that rich vein of form here today. 14 off that first over.
So for the first time, it'll be Nathan Maguire to face. So it's going to be Ryan Macbeth then from the Mardyke Walk end. Out. What a catch. First ball, backward point, one-handed diving catch. And poor old Nathan Maguire just lasts the one delivery before he's caught at backward point, and an early breakthrough for the Northwest Warriors, who won the toss and put Munster into bat. And Maguire departs brilliantly caught at backward point for a duck.
Well, Ryan Macbeth certainly experiencing more success than his brother in this opening over. First ball, it was cut away. It's a lovely height. The right hand went snaking up, and a magnificent catch. And that's just what the Warriors wanted. Wicket down in the second over.
What a catch that was. Flung out a right hand, grasped it, and was flying all the way to the boundary, 2 feet in the air. Didn't have much time to think about that, moving in with the bowler, but a magnificent catch to get rid of Maguire. So Damgard, having plundered the bowling of Scott Macbeth in the opening over, now finds himself joined by Murray Cummins. Yeah, Murray Cummins is coming in at 3 for the Munster Reds. South African. on the brink of the Irish squad. We've got a very conventional field. Obviously, we're inside the power play for 6 overs. Only 2 allowed outside the inner ring. Oh, and a cries of catch. That one too, over backward point. And he slashed really hard at that. It's going to dribble away down to third. And Murray Commons again showing intent. 4 off the first delivery. Moves them on to 21.
Well, that's a super start for Cummins. Now, the only difference between that, I suppose, and the previous delivery was about 2 feet of elevation. One resulted in a super catch, and the next resulted in a super 4.
So we got spin at one end and medium pace at the other end from the 2 Macbeths. Comes the left-hander. Very much an offside player. Flash through the covers. They're not going to cut that one off, surely, because the speed down the hill, down towards Mardyke Walk. Beautiful shot, just lent on that, and it outstripped the 2 fielders there quite easily. And as soon as it hit that bottom of the hill or top of the hill, it scurried away for 4.
Beautiful shot, making himself a little bit of room, but he threaded the needle between the 2 fielders. Neither one of them could get a hand on that. And another boundary for the Munster Reds, and they are off to a flyer.
And 1 wicket down. Damgard hits 17 off the first over. It's a couple of boundaries off this one. Oh, he's played on. Come on is the cry when he hit a quick 8, Murray Commons. But he's perished chopping on, and Macbeth's 2nd wicket in only his first over. 2 for. Out goes Nathan Maguire, followed quickly back by Murray Commons. Couple of glorious shots up and over extra cover, and that backward point as well. But that one, he's unfortunate, I suppose. He just chopped it on.
Yeah, he was playing for a bit more width, and it wasn't there. Took the inside edge of his bat. You'll see here the replay of that. And he'll be disappointed with that. But again, this game has set off out of the blocks. 22 for 2. And still in the 2nd over. It's certainly living up to T20 standards. Helter-skelter, boundaries and wickets. Both of the Macbeths, of course, come from the Brigade Club. Opened the bowling as well as a duo in the Irish Senior Cup earlier this season. They were very successful there in a losing course, but they really took Brigade to the brink of victory in their game against Pembroke in the first round of the Irish Senior Cup, and now they're making their mark on the interprovincial scene.
Kept a little low and left, and that ends the over. Successful 1-2 for Scott Macbeth, and a 2 from it departing Nathan Maguire and Murray Cummins. Wearing 81 is Conor Fletcher, our new batsman, new to the Munster Reds, and with Maguire and Murray Cummins already departed. A lot resting now on his shoulders, and Damgard as well. Damgard got off to a blistering start, 17 off the first over. Big hitting, new introduction to the Munster Reds. No Fionn Hand, Curtis Camphor in the Irish team, or PJ Moore. Those involved in the test, not involved today at least.
It does give an opportunity for the fringe players to make their mark on the interprovincial side now. A few players called up for each of the sides. Certainly they'll be looking to grasp their chance.
Getkin has already made a change. He's taken off Scott Macbeth and put on Trent McKagan. That's going to be wide. That's going to take down the offside there, but that's certainly wide. It'll be wide in a test match, never mind a one-day international.
Not quite the start that Trent would have wanted. That one running away to the boundary, 5 wides, and the scoreboard continues to tick away.
I thought the wicketkeeper got his hand to that. Couldn't prevent it though, going to the boundary. So not a great start. It's more like it. Oh, slashed and gone. Well, wickets are falling like ninepence here. That's 3 in only the 3rd over, and the big hitting Damgard is gone for 17. Caught again, slashing at that at backward point, and the change has worked. McKagan gets his first wicket, Munster's 3rd.
Well, whether it's formulaic or pre-decided, or the captain saw something in the wicket, but he made the bowling change, and it's paid off for him straight away. Wicket in his first over.
Here, all sorts of building work going on behind us here. Nice day here. Just getting us, thankfully, a little bit of shade. We're sitting outside. So 27 for 3 now. We're in the 3rd over. Damgard caught by McClintock spectacularly by McKagan. Gone for 14. And we're only 11 minutes into this game. This could be a quick match, the way things are going.
Well, if it keeps going at this rate, it's not going to make the halfway mark, let alone 20 overs. Scoring rate's high enough, but these wickets just, well, Northwest Warriors will be delighted. Normally if you take 3 wickets in the power play, you feel good, but to take 3 wickets in the first 3 overs, well, they'll be feeling cock-a-hoop out there, and that journey down from the Northwest won't seem quite as long now.
Certainly not. Tyrone Kane, the captain of the Munster Reds. Next in. This time the next side should be a wide.
It's good for the continued education of umpires that they do undergo these exchange programs, and Sam Hollinshead, he's over from England today. I'm not sure he knew what to expect, and whether he thought he'd saw so many wickets falling in the first 3 overs.
Yeah, it's good to see it. Experienced Irish umpire Paul Reynolds. That's square leg. Dot ball. 28 for 3 now. We're only in the 3rd over. Munster, a bit of rebuilding to do now. Damgard went off on a train in the 1st over. Murray Commons hit a couple of boundaries. Nathan Maguire gone. Caught a backward point off the bowling of Macbeth. Ryan Macbeth for a duck. That leaves them currently 28 for 3. And again down the leg side. He's just straying down there, and he hasn't been given the wide. Maybe the umpire gives the benefit of the doubt to the batsman there.
Well, he just needs to adjust his line slightly. He's obviously getting a bit of movement back into the batsman, and that's what's taking him down the leg side. It won't take much for him to adjust, and then we'll see whether he causes real problems. The problem for the Munster Reds, of course, 2 new batsmen at the crease. They've only faced 3 balls between them so far, and they'll be looking to just steady the ship a little.
That's a wide. Tried to adjust his line as he suggested, Craig, and went the other way. An expensive over, this one. Even though they've got the wicket.
They'll be delighted with the wickets, but the number of extras now is something they'll want to keep an eye on. A little bit of normality there. Good ball just played out on the leg side. It's not gone for 4 and not gone for a wicket. It's one of the few today so far.
Well, 3 wickets down. We're only in the 3rd over. It's taking a while to get through this over with the amount of wides he's conceded as well. So the run rate's up over 10. Fifth ball of what's been a long over. Beautiful venue here. Mardyke and Cork down here for the first time for this IP20. They like to move it around the provinces. So we've had IP20 festivals in the likes of Breedy, also in Pembroke and Dublin. But it's great to be down here in Cork, the biggest ground. Oh, nicely played. That's going to run away for 4. Just opened the face of the bat, ran it down to third for a boundary to end the over. And that's 17 to go. 3 down, 33 for 3.
Well, they're off at a rate of knots with the runs, but again, those 3 wickets to have fallen. Some excellent fielding from the Warriors' side. They're hoping to pin the Munster back, but the best thing they can do is keep taking those wickets. It's all the 3s now. 3 overs down, 3 wickets down, but 33 runs on the board.
I think Ryan Beth is going to continue. Maybe he might bowl him through, just maximum 4 overs each in a T20 game. All the 3s, 33 for 3 off 3, gives us that run rate of 11. Kane off the mark with that last shot. And now young Conor Fletcher. One slip in place. Captain Getgate. It's kept low as well. Seen a couple of this end keep it a little low. That's the second one.
It's something the batsmen will want to keep an eye on, because certainly in T20, where you're looking to play expansive shots, you want a consistent bounce. You need a consistent bounce to be able to play the shots you want, but that one kept very low. Keeper did well to get down to that.
Stephen Doheny is their wicket-keeper today for the Warriors. That's better. Face of the bat. Pushes through for a quick single, and off the mark is Fletcher. You'll feel better now about that. 3 deliveries to him and he gets off the mark. Tyrone Kane's had a very good season so far, piling on the runs. Captain of the Munster Reds. Just a little bit of rebuilding to do. Obviously they've got quite a lot of runs in the bag already. Still plenty of overs to go as well.
Kane is one of those who's just on the edge of the Irish squad, depending on the format. He'll be looking to certainly make headlines in this festival, 3D festival. Bring himself back into the attention of the selectors anyway.
Drop and run. Munster Reds not in this competition long. Obviously they'll be in the T20 before they were in the IP50 series. But Leinster Lightning are the current champions. Munster Reds won the 50 over series last year, so Northwest Warriors winning in 2021, Leinster Lightning, and the nights before that. So good spread since the 4 in a row for the Leinster Lightning from 2015 to 2018. Should be out. Oh, it's up and over the mid-off's head. It's going to trickle away for 4. Just for a moment he thought he was in the game.
Well, he wasn't too far off that one. And again, it's a thin line between success and failure. A foot lower down, and perhaps we'd have been seeing the fall of the 4th wicket, but instead just carves it away. Kept the fielder interested. Certainly the bowler was interested. But 4 more runs onto the total as we come to the end of the 4th over.
Fletcher's first boundary in IP20. Oh, might run on the misfield. That wasn't great fielding. In the end, they just keep it to a single. So Fletcher will keep the strike. That's the end of the fourth over. 40 for 3 having been put into bat. Munster Reds.
Well, it was kind of refreshing seeing over without a wicket in. It had been helter-skelter for those first 3 overs. This one a bit more sedate, but again, Fletcher and Kane, they've come together. And they know they need to do a job and take this just a bit deeper for the Munster Reds. Don't want to expose the tail too early. And they'll want to push on with the same similar sort of run rate, but perhaps with an eye on the risk-reward for their shots.
We're seeing a lot more T20 or IP20 games here this year for the provincial sides. Reason being, there is a World Cup qualification for the T20s and the World Cup itself. So we've had a series of IP50 games in May. So now into June we go, and it's a series now of these little festivals, 6 games. I'm going to play up in Breedy as well for the next series, and then back to Pembroke in August. So a lot of concentration on these. And it's going to be a change of bowling again. Keane Robertson. That's a good start for Robertson. Left hand. Oh. Just try to give himself a bit of room. That's a good start from Robertson. 2 solid deliveries there. A couple of dot balls. This brings that run rate down below the 10. In the air, cries of catch. Should be out. Well, wickets are falling here. They may be getting a few runs, but bang, out goes the skipper. Is it? No, it's Robertson has got the wicket. And Conor Fletcher has to depart for 6. Didn't stay very long. It's just the 7 deliveries. And 4 down now.
Well, having seen the pace that his openers went off at, the first 3 wickets, he becomes the 4th to fall. And this is well bowled by Robertson. A left arm around. Fletcher felt the need to take him on, and instead just found the fielder down at the Sunday the World end. And that's 4 down. 40 for 4. Well, he didn't stay long. He was only out there for 15 minutes, just the 1-4. And now you're starting to feel that Munster, despite the number of runs they've been scoring and the pace they've been scoring at, are in slightly more trouble with more questions than the Northwest Warriors. Shane Getgate has marshalled his bowling superbly well. He's mixed it up and he's caused no end of problems for Munster.
Matt Ford is in at 6 to join Kane. A really good opening over from Robertson so far. He's been on the money. Getgate is the captain who decided to put the Munster Reds into bat and is paying dividends so far, and he actually was the one that caught Robertson. They're going to go for the quick single. Called through by Kane, running to the danger end. McClintock comes in and does the fielding. What Munster need to do now is, even if the run rate slows down, and already has, down below the 9 now, is they've got to try and bat out these overs as well. Don't waste them. 4 down. He may have started with a big couple of hits from Doomguard, but he's since departed and is 4 down. And 5 overs completed now, 41 for 4.
Well, the Northwest Warriors, having conceded a lot of runs in those first couple of overs, with the taking of those wickets, they really have slowed the run rate down. And although it's come down to 8.2, it was up as high as 12 at one stage. So they've done a super job there. And the Munster players now, the Munster bats, are going to have to be a bit more cautious about going for the big shots. With 4 wickets back in the hutch already, as you say, they have to bat the overs, if nothing else.
Jared Wilson, change of bowler now. Macbeth having taken those 2 wickets from the Mardyke Walk end is relieved for the moment. And Jared Wilson wearing 25. He's coming on to bowl with the score at 41 for 4. Very much medium pace, Wilson, but he's quite accurate.
Well, that's what his captain will be wanting from him, is that accuracy, and no loose balls to be driven away to the boundary or lofted up down to the Mardyke Walk.
One or two technical problems this morning. Hopefully it hasn't spoiled your enjoyment. Looks like we got everything up now ready and working for this first match in the IP20 series between the Munster Reds and the Northwest Warriors. Who's just joining us. Northwest Warriors winning the toss. Shane Getgate immediately putting the Munster Reds into bat, and it's paid dividends. 4 down now, and we're only in the 6th over. 42 for 4. Good start from Wilson, right on the money. 3-dot balls as well is very important. Keep that pressure on all the time. Try and force the batsman into a false shot.
Well, the batsmen are looking for that loose delivery, and so far Wilson hasn't delivered it. 3-dot balls, it's an excellent start. And of course the batsman, being the 5th partner with 5th wicket partnership now, well, they're going to concentrate on remaining at the creases for as long as possible and picking up what they can when they can.
Over pitched. He's got away with that. Just a single down to the sweeper. Kane's eyes lit up there, but just couldn't force it to the boundary. Matt Ford facing now at the Sunday's Well end. Son of Graham Ford, the former Irish men's coach. Shy the stumps. Oh, I'd say he was gone, Kane. That didn't miss by much. There's a lot of oohs and ahs out there. And somehow it just missed the stumps, and Kane, I think, was dead and buried.
I think he'd actually given up on his run, ended up jogging the last couple of yards and just waiting to see the result. If he hit the stumps, he was out, and if he hadn't, he was going to walk in.
Well, that's the pressure does for you with the 4 wickets down. Trying to get as many runs as they possibly can. It's an easier one, just drop and run to McClintock. So 6 overs down, 45 for 4. Kane and Ford at the crease. Quick word from you, Craig Senior, and Stephen Alkin will jump in for the first time.
Well, Captain Tyrone Kane, he really needs to play a captain's knock here. He's got a fine partner in Matty Ford. They'll both be looking to just push and take their singles. You can see already they're willing to take on the fielders in the ring. And, well, they'll be looking to build this, not lose another wicket for a couple of overs at least. They really need to steady the monster ship. But Getgate and his Northwest Warriors will be absolutely delighted with the way these first 6 overs have gone in the power play. They now get to spread the field a bit more. They're looking to see how they're going to go about it. Robinson to bowl a 2nd over. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Chris. I'm so looking forward to this 3-day festival of cricket in the Mardyke, and the place looks absolutely beautiful on this wonderful sunny day.
Well, you can see Kane's keen to take any singles he can. On this occasion, sent back quite wisely by Ford.
Cian Robertson with 1 for 1 in his first over, a lad who came into the Northwest Warriors team for their last T50 match of the first half of that series and bowled magnificently to turn a game around against the Northern Knights. It was a wonderful display of bowling. 10 overs for 20-something runs. He didn't get a lot of wickets that day, but he showed that he has what it takes at this level, and he started here quite superbly.
Left arm spinners very much of a premium. You can see the concern in the English ranks now that Jack Leach isn't available for them. Kean Robinson very much in the same mould.
Swing and a miss. Bit of lift there off this grassy wicket. It looks good, the wicket, but it's got a lot of grass on it, and there will be a fair bit in it for the bowlers. The crouching style of Matty Ford gets it away for a single.
Well, Robinson's bowling very intelligent here. He's not throwing in a very much a slower ball. He's just varying his pace a bit, just to knock the batsman's timing off where he can.
And that's straight to backward point. No run. Just 3 men out for Robertson. Getgate has that confidence in this young man, and another good over from him. 1 for 3 after 2, which is magnificent figures at this level.
Well, A, at this level, and B, very much in this game. The pace at which the Munster Reds headed off at the start. Well, they've been reined back in a bit here by the Northwest Warriors. And again, the best way of reducing a run rate is to take wickets. And a run rate that 3 overs ago was around 12 has now dropped to just under 7.
And with Damgard, Maguire, Cummins and Fletcher all back in the pavilion, quite clearly these two are starting to rebuild the innings, both with a 50% strike rate, 8 from 16, 3 from 6, making sure that they get their full 20 overs of batting. Off the pads and a quick leg by. Got to keep rotating the strike, these batters.
Well, Tyrone Kane is playing this perfectly. As you say, he's just rotating the strike, presenting the bowlers with a different problem each time, and that's what they need to do here. Just look, you score as many runs by turning ones into 2 as you do for going for the big shots.
Pulled away to backward square leg and beats the fielder there, Harry Zimmerman, who couldn't get round from long leg. Another boundary for the Munster Reds.
Well, there were 2 fielders out there for that. It's almost a trap set, but on this case it wasn't a trap sprung. He managed to find the gap between those 2 fielders, and it was such pace that neither one of them could get to where the ball crossed the rope, and 4 more runs and 50 up for the Munster Reds.
Nicely struck past cover. Mid-off comes around, just a single. Kane keeping the scoreboard moving. This lovely old ground with the quaint pavilion and surrounded by nice old housing and a lovely tennis court behind us. I was debating earlier how many balls we might lose out of the ground. It's that kind of a cricket ground that it's in a T20 quite easy to clear for these fellas to clear the boundaries. We've had 1 into the tennis court so far.
Well, the destructive batsman at the top of the order certainly were looking for that tennis court, but the loss of their wickets has meant that it's a bit more circumspect now.
Slightly over pitched, but Kane can't get it away. No run. At the start of this innings we were thinking maybe 200 was possible, but the loss of those 4 wickets has slowed things down a bit.
Well, cricket is often that way. Very hard to keep up momentum of over 12 and over.
Just short of a length and turned away by Kane, who's thinking about 2, but Zimmerman quickly onto it. Just the single. And that's the end of the 8th over. 55 for 4. Jared Wilson with 10 runs off his 2 overs. Kane on 14, Ford on 4.
Well, you can just see the intent from Tyrone Kane there, the speed at which he took what was always going to be a single, but he didn't want to miss out on the chance of a second run. If there was any possibility, he'd have been scurrying back down the wicket, but on this occasion, the fielder made sure that it was just a single, and now 55 for 4, and unsurprisingly, Robertson to continue. He's 1 for 3 from 2.
Oh, beautifully bowled, flighted to Tyrone Kane, who couldn't quite get to the pitch of it, and he's been bowled. A wonderful delivery from Robertson takes the applause from his teammates, and it's a 5th wicket down now for 55 in the 9th over. Kane goes for 14.
Well, a continuation of the falling of wickets on this occasion. Beautiful delivery from Robertson. He's now 2 for 3, and certainly people will be taking note of such things. Just beautifully angled back in, turned away from the edge of the bat, took the off stump, and that saw the end of the captain. He's gone for 14 from 21. And now the Munster Reds, well, you said they were looking at 200 when the openers were in after 1 or 2 overs, and now 55 for 5. They were 33 for 3, so they're fairly consistent on this.
41 for 4. 55 for 5. It's a pattern developing.
There is indeed. Next batsman to the crease now, Gareth Delaney. Not that long ago, Gareth Delaney was coming in at number 3 for Ireland in T20 games. Since fell back down the order, and in fact, sort of fallen out of favour. He'll be looking forward to this festival, re-establish himself in the minds of the selectors. Plenty of cricket for the Irish men's team, Ireland men's team this summer.
Well, this lad Robertson, second time I've seen him play, second time he has bowled beautifully. Fulfilling the expectations of his captain, who's kept him on now for a 3rd consecutive over. He'll probably bowl him out and try and get another wicket or 2 from this end.
Well, what now? He's found this rhythm. No point in stopping him now. 2 for 3.
Slightly quicker delivery, shorter, cut away behind square. There'll be a couple of runs here for Gareth Delaney, getting off the mark quickly. Munster Reds, of course, as we've said already, missing some of their best players today, and they mightn't have the depth that some of the other teams do. And that's just snicked fine for a boundary through the vacant slip area. Very rare you see a slip at this stage of a T20.
Very much so. You see here that Delaney, well, if you're going to slash hard, it went a lot finer than he was expecting. Looking to play it behind square on the offside, but wasn't expecting it to go that fine through that slip, vacant slip area.
But again, Robertson asking questions of the batters and finding the edge and making them play and miss at times. That's straight out to the cover fielder. Just a single. So Delaney keeps the strike, and Robertson, with 1 ball left in this 3rd over, 2 for 10. Great start for him. Brings forward on strike. And again, it's not what the batter wanted. The ball just getting up quite quickly.
Yes, that took forward's gloves as it went through. That edge 4 from Delaney, the only boundary that Robertson has conceded in 3 overs. 2 for 11 now. Perhaps not the tight figures we saw after 1 and 2 overs, but still he's causing problems and doing a fine job for the Northwest Warriors and for his captain.
So a lot for these batters to ponder. Not even halfway through the overs, 5 wickets down. A lot of work for them to do. Got to stay out there and make sure they bat the full 20. Jared Wilson, is it, coming on from the Mardyke walk end?
This will be his 3rd over. Slight change in the field. McClintock goes out to mid-off.
Good delivery. Just played back to the bowler. There was some element of surprise at the toss that Shane Getgate decided to field first on such a wonderful day, but he's proven right. That one got up quickly on Matty Ford. It's good bowling from Wilson.
You can understand Getgate's decision, though. It's the first day of a 3-day festival. He'd like to see how the wicket is, but it also gives you, if you take the field, you're a whole team working together. Whereas if you come out to bat, it's just 2 of you at a time, and you're so concentrating on your own batting as well that you're missing that teamwork, and this way it gives the Warriors a chance to gel.
Oh, off the splice of the bat, and very lucky there, Matt Ford, just over the bowler and away from the mid-on, mid-off fielders who were watching that, hoping it would carry.
They were converging and converging quickly, but the ball, well, gravity did its work, and it got to the turf before they got to it. And Matty Ford survives, but his heart would have been in his mouth for a moment there, one felt.
Swung away to backward square leg where Zimmerman is the fielder. Just a single for Ford, gets him off strike. Ryan Macbeth it is, bowling from the Mardyke walk end.
Well, Paul Reynolds calls that as a no ball. Must have been on height, and therefore we're going to see the first free hit of the festival and of the game.
And Gareth Delaney, who's already got 7 runs to his name in 4 deliveries, just the man that the Munster Reds would have wanted at the crease for this free hit. 4 out on the leg side, not one fielder in, saving a single. Short delivery, one expects, and that's incredible. He couldn't get his bat on the ball. It's through to the wicketkeeper. And no run.
Well, it was almost premeditated by Delaney there. He saw he wanted to come down towards us here at the commentary box. He went right across his stumps, but no bat, just ran off the pads. And Stephen Doheny, well, he wasn't going to let any singles be taken there then.
On a short delivery. Munster Reds really struggling with the short ball. Ball getting up off a length, and just short of a length. Making it difficult for these batters. There's more in this wicket than meets the eye.
Well, that delivery gave Delaney no room. We know how he likes to swing his arms. But on this occasion, he wasn't really in control of the shot at all, and it just ballooned up on the offside. But no fielder in that tight, certainly not in a T20 game.
Change in the field again. Again, it's 4 out on the leg side, nobody in. And it's turned into that leg side, and the batters thought about 2, but that's good fielding. Saving a single there. Delaney keeps strike at the end of the 10th over at the halfway mark of their innings. Munster Reds on 66 for 5. Ford on 6. Delaney on 8.
Well, there's no doubt who will be the happier of the two teams at this stage. Northwest Warriors, well, they've mixed up their bowling. They've fielded well. Their ground fielding has been superb. A few excellent, one excellent catch early on. Another more regulation catch as well. But they've put the Munster side into a bit of trouble. And it's those 5 wickets down, shared amongst the bowlers really. And Robinson now, he's going to be bowled out. 2 for 11 off his 3 so far.
That's a cracking shot through the covers. One of the best of the morning. Just slightly over pitched and punched away by Delaney.
Well, you see here, Delaney would take any width, just cleared his front foot and powered it through the covers. Beautiful shot, beautiful T20 shot. Very little danger all along the carpet.
5-4 offside field for Robertson. That one played straight down to Zimmerman on the deep mid-off boundary. Just the single this time for Delaney, who is scoring at a good rate. Matty Ford a little bit more circumspect, hasn't quite played himself in yet. A big change in the field for Ford, with 3 men in, saving the single now on the offside. 3 out on the leg side, and a 45-degree backward square leg inside the circle.
Well, despite the concession of that boundary early in the over, Robertson has stuck to his task. He's not giving Ford anything to really go for.
Yeah, just a couple of balls to go in his spell. Impressive so far. That was overpitched. Pulled away to wide mid-on for a single. Important for Matty Ford to get bat on ball and keep the score ticking along.
You could see Ford was trying to put a bit of power into that shot, and maybe the addition of the power took away from his timing. It went straight to the fielder.
Final delivery of the Robertson spell. Well fielded in the covers by Aaron Gillespie. No run. And at the end of those 4 overs, a very tidy 2 for 17. Cian Robertson's progress with the Warriors continues.
Well, there's the Munster Reds card so far. Nicholas Damgard, well, those 14 runs came in the first over. The first ball he faced in the second over saw the end of him. Nathan Maguire, well, he fell to an absolutely superb catch from Macbeth. And Murray Commons, well, he wasn't too happy the way he got himself bowled. Extras so far, 10 from 11 overs. So that includes 1 5 wides. So they've done well. These two continuing the rebuilding job as the run rate drops to about 6.5 now. They wouldn't want it to go too much lower, and in fact it will be an over or 2. You'll feel they'll then feel the need to push on.
Harry Zimmerman coming on from the Mardyke Walk end to bowl to Matty Ford. A chance to get that one away, but Ford couldn't find bat on ball. Through to the keeper Doheny.
Well, that was very full of length, but again, perhaps better there than too short.
2 players backward of square on the offside, inside the circle. That one's just pushed in front of them, out to deep cover. Single for Ford, who has scored all of his runs so far with singles.
Well, Matty Ford, he realises 5 wickets down. He's been there for a couple of overs now. He's just turning over the strike and trying to bring Gareth Delaney's big bat into play here.
Five on the boundary here for Delaney. That was always down the leg side. Just a single though.
You might almost say those ones he's dropping onto the leg side, he's almost timing too well. It's giving the fielder on the boundary a chance to come in and save a possible 2, no matter how quickly they're on the first.
Quite short boundaries here. 66 away to the left, 61 towards the pavilion. And that struck firmly and down the throat of mid-off. And Matty Ford is the 6th wicket to fall.
Well,
more success for the Warriors. Zimmerman coming on to end this partnership, and it's 74 for 6, and the Reds in big trouble.
Well, you have a feeling that Matt Ford had one eye on the scoreboard there. He really went after that one, but it wasn't there to be lifted. He didn't keep it down on the carpet and instead just found the man in the deep. Zimmerman will be delighted picking up a wicket. Just never really got the power going forward through the bat, and that meant it could be hauled in just short of the boundary.
Wasn't quite there to be hit. Probably thought it was going to pitch up a little closer to his bat. Never quite got to the pitch of it. So the missed time shot and another wicket falls. And the Northwest Warriors starting this Rario T20 series with an emphatic display in the field.
It just goes to show you in this T20 how easily the pendulum swings from one side to the other. As you said earlier on, after that first over, I think the scoreboard operator was wondering how busy he was going to be clocking up the runs, 200 plus, but now the Northwest Warriors, through some tight bowling and some good fielding, well, they've really got the Munster Reds, well, digging themselves into a hole at the moment.
Liam McCarthy, the new batter, left-hander. Not much change in the field here for Zimmerman. If it ain't broke, why do anything to change it? Zimmerman coming into the attack and getting the breakthrough. I think there was a little tickle there. That might have had a little inside edge off the bat of Liam McCarthy.
Yes, there was definitely an edge there, but I mean, it would have been impossible for Doheny to get down to that. He wouldn't be expecting to catch that one.
And see that one, the way it got up? There is a lot of variety in the bounce in this wicket. That seemed to rear up off a good length. Be worth seeing that one again.
Well, Zimmerman just seemed to, if you watch his delivery in his hand, he definitely wants to cut that one back into the bowler, but in fact, instead of cutting left and right, it just went up. And as a result, batsman was surprised, and keeper, well, he couldn't get his gloves to it, but he got something to it anyway and prevented any byes.
So at the end of 12, 74 for 6. And still 8 overs to go, and Delaney is the key here. Well, there's the bowling figures, highlighting Cian Robertson and that fine 4 overs he has just produced. Just 4.25 an over, which is excellent at this level.
Well, not only have the bowling been tight and they've taken wickets, but he's used Getgate has already used 6 bowlers, and that gives him some flexibility towards the end. He doesn't have to follow a formula, or I'm going to have to bring the opener back now. Just even that 1 over from Zimmerman, and I suspect having taken a wicket and only conceded 2 runs, it won't be his last over, but it does give Getgate that bit of flexibility as to who to use.
Macbeth was very expensive in the opening over, thanks to Nikolai Damsgaard's assault. And as you can see, that opening over, the most productive for the Reds so far.
And the important thing to note there are the little circles showing how the wickets, or when the wickets have fallen, and it's almost a regular pattern. That's reflected in the scores at the falls of wicket. But now Jared Wilson from the Sunday's well end.
Delaney the batter. And something moving, I think, behind the bowler's arm. Again, there's 3 men out on the leg side and nobody in on the single apart from Willie McClintock at 45 degrees. More conventional field on the offside. That one got up a bit too. Played down well by Delaney. I was looking at the wicket before the start of play, and I did think there was an awful lot of grass on it, even though it's very yellow and obviously very dry. Played straight down the ground. Wilson got his hand to it, but there will be a single here for Delaney, bringing Liam McCarthy on strike.
Well, McCarthy's another one who's having a fine season in Leinster with his club Railway Union, primarily in the side as a bowler, but he's more than capable with the willow as well, coming in at number 8 today.
Different field here for McCarthy. 3 on the single on the offside. And that's off the inside edge down to long leg for a single. 76 for 6. And McCarthy off the mark.
Well, this might actually move to Munster's advantage, having the left-hander and right-hander in. It's going to mean plenty of changing in the field. It may just present some opportunities for Munster to get a few more runs, get closer to that first century.
Straight down the ground. And it's gone between the 2 fielders who kind of left it for each other. Firmly placed shot from Delaney. Another boundary for him. Moves him to 19, score into the 80s.
Gareth Delaney is going about his business with minimum fuss, but quite efficient. He's got on to 19 now from 14 balls on that one. He just saw the length, punched it straight back down the ground. As you say, the fielders seem to get more in their way than anything else.
They're both quite wide at mid-off and mid-on. Chopped down to backward point, straight to the fielder, no run. Just a little bit of a debate between the batters as to whether they should have run one there.
Well, I think McCarthy was backing up beautifully, and he was quite prepared to go for the run, but Delaney, he played that shot off the back foot, and he was in no position to set off from there, and so he turned down the run, and quite sensibly so.
Yep, can't afford a run out at this stage. And that one rising off a short length. The run taken this time, as McCarthy was going to the danger end. And that's the end of Jared Wilson's 3rd over, 17 runs from it. 81 for 6 after 13. Delaney on 20 and McCarthy just off the mark on 1.
Well, again, more rebuilding necessary for Munster. 6 wickets down, still 7 overs to go. And although they'll want to start their assault on the bowling now, they don't really have the wickets in hand to do so.
Yeah, if they can just tip away at 6 or 7 and over, keep the run rate well into the 6s and maybe touch 7, they'll probably feel they've done a good job from this situation. Zimmerman, who got the wicket in his first over, bowling, getting Matty Ford out. He'll be continuing now from the Mardyke walk end. Nicely clipped off his toes by Delaney, but straight to the fielder, a deep mid-wicket. So McCarthy on strike, and change in the field again for the lefty.
Delaney again pushing that ball with such timing that there was never more than a single, even though it travelled 58 of the 61 yards to that side.
Zimmerman continuing over the wicket to the left-hander. And that one slashed down to deep fine leg for a single. Could have gone anywhere.
Well, where it did end up was certainly not on McCarthy's radar when he was swinging the bat. But yes, it came down off the edge, scooted away, let them get the single and get Delaney back on strike. Delaney, who's striking at, well, 21 off 17.
Up near 125, 120. Not a bad strike rate, that. Don't think we'll see him cut loose until about the 17th or 18th over. Although, there you go. He's hit that one ferociously hard. 75 yards, 80 yards of carry for a 6. Just the second of the innings and out of the ground.
Well, both 6s have left the Mardyke. This occasion it comes back again from the road. But yes, that's the shot that Gareth Delaney is renowned for, really, is his power down the ground. It was something that Ireland tried to utilise, and it's one that's brought the Munster Reds a 6.
And that one just turned to mid-wicket for a single. Good cricket from Delaney.
Good bowling as well from Zimmerman. He had that one where he was cutting it again, and that cramped the batsman, who could only play it out on the leg side and just pick up the single. And I don't think the Northwest Warriors are too worried about singles at this stage. It's trying to avoid those big blows again.
So McCarthy on strike. Just 4 inside the circle for him. And he paddle swept that one nicely. Very fine for 4. Good shot from McCarthy. Keeping that scoreboard ticking. Great over this for the Reds.
Well, you get the feeling that McCarthy had premeditated. He was looking for behind the keeper. He came a long way across and got enough on it to let it run away. On another day, that might not be quite as successful.
Slash this time from McCarthy into that vacant leg side area, just a single. But a good over for the Reds, the best they've had in a while. Score moves up to 95 for 6 in 14 overs. Delaney on 28. McCarthy has moved to 7. And it'll be John Kenny rejoining Craig in just a moment.
Well, Gareth Delaney, he's doing a fine job for Munster here. He's moved on to 28 and it's only taken him 19 balls, but he hasn't really sort of hit the headlines or set the world alight, but he's going about his job with great efficiency. Welcome back, John.
Yeah, it's good to see Gareth Delaney in a bit of form here. He's one of the squad members going to Zimbabwe for the World Cup qualifiers. Not all of them are here today, but Delaney is certainly a member of that squad and will be playing in Zimbabwe. That was a really good thumping 6. So the crucial part of the innings here now, 4 to go, 95 for 6, 4 wickets to go, and we're in the 15th over, so 6 overs to go. Delaney's played his part there with a big contribution so far of 26. Robson whips him off his legs. Just be the single to the sweeper at the mid-wicket boundary. And they'll be thinking now maybe 140. If they can get that, it'll be a good total. But there's still a matter of, if they lost 2 more wickets, they'll be in real trouble. But as long as Delaney stays there, 28 from 19, they have a real chance of pushing on towards that score.
Well, I do think you hit the nail on the head there. If Delaney's there in 6 overs' time, then the score will be up at around 140 or so.
Well, he's not going to be there for long. McKeegan straight through him and castles him completely. So 7 wickets down now in the 15th over, 96 for 7, and now they're in trouble.
They certainly are. Just 3 wickets left and the best part of 6 overs to go. They have to bat their overs. Gareth Delaney, he departs, just missing a straight one. See here on the replay. Well, what does he do wrong? Well, he just misses it. I think he expected it to bounce up a bit higher, and that's allowed the ball to get through, disturbed the stunts. 7 wickets down. Northwest Warriors again, they've got to be happy with the way this innings has gone, even including that amazing first over we saw.
Yeah, 14 from it, from the big hitting Damgard. He didn't stay there long though, didn't add to that total. Delaney, a lot of foot movement there, just kind of wafted his bat at it. And Josh Manley is next in at number 9 for the Munster Reds, who, remember, lost the toss and were asked to bat this morning by the Warriors. 17 runs quickly added for the first wicket, but they've lost wickets consistently since. 25 for 2, 28 for 2, 40 for 4, 55 for 5, 74, and then 96. Not huge contributions in terms of partnerships. They're losing wickets at the wrong time. And you've got to give a lot of credit to the 6 bowlers so far used by Shane Getgate, the stand-in captain today for the Warriors. Used them really well. Keegan in particular, Jared Wilson changing ends as well, just to vary things up. A bit of an overthrow, bit of a mix-up there. So I'm going to run through for a single.
Well, in fairness to the Warriors fielders, there was somebody backing up, but once the ball clipped the stump, it went off on a new course, and that allowed the overthrow.
Yeah, Matt will be happy to go off the mark. 1 to his name. And Lee McCarthy now not riding on his shoulders. He'll be the senior partner out there until Manley gets his eye in. 97 for 7. 140 is looking an awful long way away with just 3 wickets remaining. That's in the air and that's flipped over short third, or short fine leg, and that's gone all the way. Which is a nonchalant little flick there from McCarthy. Takes him into double figures. Up to 14. A nice third maximum. Brings the 100 up.
Well, he came well outside his leg stump and still turned it round to leg. Fine shot. First 6 not to leave the ground, but still 6 onto the board.
Slower delivery. Kept low as well. We've seen a couple keep low at this end, the Sunday's well end. That's the first one we've seen keep low from the Marduk walk end. A nice little thank you very much 6 from the previous delivery, but that one kept low. And McCarthy perhaps lucky to survive.
Well, just a dot ball, but yes, it's that variation in bounce. We saw a couple that Delaney in particular had to play down that had just leapt off a length.
Again, slower ball, and And the umpire's not going to give that one a wide because the batsman stepped away. So we got 5 to go now. 15 bowled, 103 for 7, having lost the toss. Munster Reds have been asked to bat. Wickets have fallen quickly. McCarthy on 14, Manley on 1. 5 overs to go. What can they get?
Well, if they bat the 5 overs, you'd be looking at a target of 130, 140 even perhaps. But again, there's a number of wickets that have fallen that have them in real difficulty. If they lose another one now, it will just pull that run rate back again and again.
We've got 2 Irish internationals, indeed 3 Irish internationals in the Munster Reds squad. 4 making PJ Moore and Curtis Camphor. They're not involved today, but Gareth Delaney and Ben White certainly are. And they will be going to Zimbabwe for the World Cup qualifiers. They start on the 18th of June. Ireland's first match is against Oman on the 19th. Then they got Scotland, Sri Lanka, UAE to come. Oman, Scotland, Sri Lanka and the UAE in that group. It's a tough group, that. Top 3 will emerge from those 5 into the Super Sixes and then on to that final. If Ireland get there, they will qualify as one of 10 teams to join the already pre-qualified for the World Cup. Ireland couldn't make it through the World Series, so they've had to go through this route now. West Indies also involved along with Sri Lanka, so ain't going to be easy. They're the top 2 seeds. Sri Lanka in Ireland's group, West Indies are in the other. You've also got the small matter of the T20 World Cup qualifiers to come as well. So a packed season for Ireland. Down the track. Going to pump it down for a single. Mandy obviously anxious to get McCarthy back on strike pretty quickly. Macbeth at the far end. Bowled well so far, but without success.
Scott was the one who bowled that first over for Damsgaard. One that Damsgaard definitely came out on top of.
Yeah, since then he's actually kept a good line and length. Damsgaard plundered him for 14 in the first over, but he hasn't added money to that tally since then. Switching ends. Yeah, cries of good dot, good dot. At this stage of the innings as well, taking wickets, of course, is very important, but every dot ball counts. Puts more pressure on the batsman. Oh, and a cry from the short leg. Couldn't believe that he'd stepped over to the left-hand side and the ball went exactly where he was standing about 30 seconds ago, and it flew past him to the boundary. A 4 for McCarthy, and welcome runs 2 for Munster.
Well, the fielder is now returning to the spot where the ball went through, chasing the ball, but Munster needed that boundary.
Look, this Ryan Macbeth, and that's going to beat McClintock's dive, and that's a couple of welcome 4s, boundaries for Munster, just to keep that target, that scoreboard ticking over. McCarthy in particular is looking really good for his 22. It's the end of the over. This is how they did it. Nothing McClintock could do about trying to cut that off. A small ground. And we're at the end of the 16th over. 4 to go. 1, 1, 2, 4, 7. And they're pushing on towards that 140. Might fancy their chances of getting beyond that now with 4 overs to go. McCarthy, important innings from him. 22 from 14. Manley playing that anchor role at the far end. And run rates at 7. Nothing to write home about yet, but pitch is showing us a bit of variable bounce, a bit of variable speed as well. So this is not fait accompli yet. Let's see what they can get for the last 4 overs then.
Well, McCarthy's doing a fine job. When he first came in, he seemed to be off on his timing, but of course, the more time you spend in the middle, the easier it becomes. And now he's powering ahead, 22 off 14. Now he's looking to his partner, Manley.
2 for 19 from his 2 overs so far for McKeegan. There's the fielder down there, straight down his throat, just a single.
Well, the Warriors will be happy enough with a single, and Munster will be happy to see Liam McCarthy back on strike. to set a decent target for the Northwest Warriors. These two are going to have to make the most of the last few overs. That may be easier to say than do.
It's coming down towards us. Oh, that's a lovely catch. Right in front of us. Beautifully taken. And the Warriors, Henry Zimmerman running across in front of us, tiptoed his way along the boundary as well to make sure his foot didn't touch it. It was coming at some speed. I tell you, if he dropped that, we were in trouble.
We were indeed. It was coming straight towards the commentator's box, but Zimmerman, he made good ground across, kept his eye on the ball, and once he caught it, he made sure that, as you say, he tiptoed his line for the next couple of steps to make sure he didn't come over the boundary. You'll see it here. It should be in glorious colour, and it should be glorious close-up. There we go. You can see. Nice catch, and 8 down.
I'm relieved that he caught it. I'm telling you, he was coming in right on top of us. A really good catch from Zimmerman. Thank you, sir. He tiptoed his way along that boundary rope just inside it. If he touched it, it would have been a 6. As it is, McCarthy's little cameo, 22 of 15 gone. Partnership is 17, 113 now. As Ben White makes his way to the crease with just 2 wickets remaining. They've got to see out the overs here. Don't be criminal. Get as many runs as they can without losing wickets. Not easy task, especially with so few runs on the board. 113 in the 17th over. Oh, mix up, throw the stumps. Misses. A good backup though from Gate. Prevents the run. And they're still on 113 for 8. Some of those players who will be playing in New Zealand or involved in the squad in New Zealand may not be here, but the Leinster Lightning have got Lorcan Tucker, Harry Tector, George Dockrell, their captain, Barry McCarthy, and Josh Little. And they're all going to Zimbabwe. I don't think Little will be here, having asked to be rested after the IPL. His team making the final with the dot ball. For Munster, they've got the 4 in PJ Moore, who opened the batting in Lords. We've got Gareth Delaney, Curtis Camphor, and Ben White. Ben is out there now. For the Warriors, we've got Andy McBride, who is their captain. He's not captaining today. Graham Hume, Craig Young. Young, I know for certain, is not here. And then we've got 2 for the Knights in market there. And Paul Sterling. Well, if Sterling bats now, that's a different thing as well. Let's pump down the ground. There's a fielder down here. Cuts it off well and just keeps it to a single. 114 for 8 now.
Well, you can see with these two, they've come in 9 and 10. And there's just a lack of communication about what is a single and what isn't, or what is a second. There's sort of hesitation from the two of them, and I wouldn't be surprised with the sharpness of the Northwest Warriors fielding. There still could be a run out between here and the end.
Two umpires today, Paul Reynolds and Sam Hollingshead, visiting English umpire. Good to see him here. Hope he's enjoying his sojourn to Ireland. Oh, a slower delivery as well. That's just a half-hearted appeal from the bowler, and indeed the umpire is not going to give that, because that will end the 17th over. So 3 to go, just a single from it. This is it again. I think it was going well down leg side and stifled appeal from both wicketkeeper and bowler. Yeah, well down the leg side.
Well, it was delivered out of the back of the hand as if he wanted it to come back away from the batsman, but as you say, the overall trajectory was certainly down the leg side, and very easy to turn that one down. Leg bite, taking the score on to 114. But again, the important thing for Munster, there are 8 wickets down, so it limits these batsmen as to how big they can go.
Ben White facing now on 1. It's a big ball at times. Ben White's a big man. Scott Macbeth, you have to take a wicket. A little expensive, 2 for 23. Oh, in fact, it's Jared Wilson. Jared Wilson. They've just changed that over there. My apologies. Jared Wilson, none for 17 in his 3 overs so far. He's bowled at both ends. Shot at the stumps. Oh, I'd say. Well, I think Mandy was lucky there. If that had connected, Paul Reynolds may have had the finger in the air. That was really close. Yes, no moment. And Mandy sent back and nearly perished.
Again, this issue of communication between the two of them. It was a late call of no. All it takes is a small slip, and he'd be in real trouble there.
That's nicely played. Just put bat onto ball, knowing that the fielder would have to come in, pick it up right-handed, throw at the stump. So there's plenty of time to run through for the single.
They had plenty of time, but there was no audible call. It was all done on a look and a nod. They managed to get through this time.
It's like a no-look pass in football, isn't it? What are you trying to say?
Yeah, very much so.
Yes. You've got to trust your partner very well, though, because I didn't do it last time. Actually, he did send him back, but that one, yeah. Getgate at the far end having a word with his bowler, Jared Wilson. The 6 bowlers been used so far by the Warriors. Bit of wind getting up now across the ground, blowing from, as you can see, well, you can't see it, but obviously from our vantage point it's from right to left. That's dug in.
Very good delivery for Manley.
Wasn't expecting that, was he?
No, you've got the tail ender in front of you. He's not expecting anything too short. He did well to get out of the way of it, really.
And the most important thing from the Warriors' point of view is it's another dot ball. Manley on 3, White on 2. New batsman to the crease. Running out of overs. Down the track he comes, doesn't get all of that. Might come back for the second. Oh, what a slip! And is he gone? He's out. Well, you mentioned the fact that a slip is something that could cause the downfall. And White, trying to get back into his end, slips, doesn't make his ground, and up goes the dreaded finger. And 9 down now for 115. White run out for 2.
Well, that was an accident waiting to happen, and it was unfortunate that he lost his footing. If he hadn't done so, he'd have been safe enough there, but he'd come down the track, skidded to a stop, and then just couldn't get back. And fine fielding from the Northwest Warriors. You see here, he makes the first one quickly enough, and then with the cry of no, his right foot, no studs on the ground, and he didn't get back in time. And that's fine fielding from the Northwest, and that brings the 9th wicket. And now Munster are in grave danger of not batting their overs.
9 down in the 18th over. White's gone for 2. Manley still there. Last man in. Last man standing. So it was actually Manley who was out there, so White is still there. Manley got 4.
Well, you can see White is intent on getting bat on ball.
Mick Granger, the last one in. Standing at the non-striker's end. That's a little high. Yeah, it was White who sent Manley back. Manley slipped. White moves on to 3. Granger yet to face as we end the 18th over. 117 for 9. Last 2 at bat, White and Granger.
Well, with 2 overs left, they'll still be looking to get to 130 or so, even with this being the last wicket. Even a runner ball here would get them up to 129. But the Northwest Warriors are stuck to their task. They weren't phased when that first over disappeared. 14 runs off the first over, but now the run rate's back down to 6.5.
Well, we started here at 11. Quickly getting through the overs now. 2 overs to go. Coming up to the 12:30 mark. Every run now is precious. Can they use up these next 11 deliveries and get them close to that 140 mark, which we mentioned? Would probably be just about something they could work with. Lose a wicket now, and you'd have to say the Warriors would be odds-on favourites to go on and get an easy victory, but T20 can be a bit unpredictable. We've seen some rearing up from height and also some deliveries keeping low. And there's an example of that. Bends his back. Granger has to sway out of the way.
Well, that's a lovely delivery to a tail ender. His first thought, self-preservation rather than run scoring. Bowl that one to the opening batsman, and one feels he'd go after it, but well, Granger coming in at number 11. Self-preservation was the way to go there.
Shy the stumps again. White was buried, dead and buried. Had that hit.
Well, the bowler, he's convinced that this was out LBW. It's just got him outside the line, and that's what saved him.
And missing the stumps. Good effort this for McKeegan. 3 for 23. This is his final over.
I mean, this is the one side effect, I suppose, of not having the Irish players here. It really does give an opportunity to some fringe players to make their mark and to publicise their talent.
Well, this is what Irish List Days cricket is about. Bringing youngsters through from the club scene into a full-time structure, or a part-time structure for a lot of these players, though. Some on full-term contracts. Up with the Irish men's setup. Bowled him. That was a lovely delivery right up on the block hole. Yorker length from McKeegan, and what a performance from him. 4 for in his 4th over, and they're all out for 120, having been asked to bat, having lost the toss earlier on today. So 121 for victory for the Northwest Warriors, having already asked Munster Reds to bat. They bowled them out for 120, and that's quite a way short of Munster would have been expecting, having been asked to bat.
Lovely delivery from wide of the wicket, just bringing it back in. And there, indeed, is, well, pretty sad batting card for the Munster Reds. The only people to really get going, Delaney and McCarthy, and by that stage it was late into the innings. It's those cheap wickets at the top of Maguire, Cummins and Fletcher that have really caused a problem for the Munster Reds. There we are with the partnerships. You can see that partnership at the top of 14, well, that was just 1 over. And after that, wickets started tumbling and nobody really stuck together. Again, I say Delaney and McCarthy, they put on 22. McCarthy was there for a couple of partnerships. But overall, they'll be disappointed at only reaching a runner ball.
Bowling figures. Very impressive from McKeegan. 3.5 overs. 4 for 24. Ryan Macbeth chipped in with a couple. Scott was expensive in that first over. Only bowled the 2 overs, possible 4. And Robertson, 2 for 17 after his 4 overs. Good work from him, and also Zimmerman, who also took an excellent catch down in front of us. got a wicket too from his 2 overs, 1 for 16. So that's the match summary. Munster Reds bowled out for 120 off 18.5 overs, having been asked to bat. Northwest Warriors won the toss, elected to bowl, and they will bat shortly to see if they can reach 121. We'll take a short break from sunny Mardyke and bring you the Northwest Warriors innings very shortly.
And you're welcome back to the Mardyke on this beautiful sunny day, first day of the Rario T20 Championship Series. It's the Munster Reds against the Northwest Warriors, and the Munster Reds made 120 all out in less than their allocated 20 overs, 18.3 overs to be precise. And now it's the Warriors' turn, and they have this, what you might see as quite a small target. Craig, do you think the Reds have any chance here?
Oh, very much so. This game is very much in the balance. You never know what a good score is until the end of the game, really. 120, run a ball.
And it's Josh Manley steaming in from the Mardyke walk end. And straight away a single for Doheny off the first delivery.
Yeah, 120, it feels below par. But you can be never sure. And we saw somewhat of variable bounce on the wicket in the first innings, and a couple came up. And again, it'll be dependent very much on how the Reds go about this, and do they get early wickets.
They've got to slip in the opening overs, and that beats the outside edge of Aaron Gillespie's bat. Nice lifting delivery from Manley.
And that went through at a very good pace as well.
There's a bit in this wicket. Variable bounce, like you were saying. Bit of life for the quicker bowlers.
Well, that one carried beautifully through to the keeper.
Well, Gillespie thought it was a half volley there, but it came off the inside edge, squirted away just in front of square. He's off the mark now with a single.
With such a small total to chase down, I mean, it'll be important for these two just to make a solid base for the Northwest Warriors. Wickets in hand at the end of the innings. Well, the Munster Reds showed how important that is in the first innings.
He used his feet well there, and he's cleared Tyrone Kane at mid-off, and it's gone away for 4. Bludgeoned down the ground.
Well chosen word there, bludgeoned indeed. You see it here. He's come well down the track, and he was still taking a lifting ball on, but he cleared Kane, and it ran away to the boundary. And Northwest, well, this is exactly the sort of start they wanted.
A little bit more pitched up, beating the outside edge. Lovely delivery from Manley.
Well, that one only just got over the top of the stumps. You could see that Doheny, he's taken a step down the track in an effort to negate it, but it still went through at a good height.
So a bit for both sides in this opening over. 6 runs, and a couple of times the batter's in trouble. Again, using his feet well, Doheny, but it was straight to the fielder at wide mid-on, and it's 6 for no wicket after the opening over, which is exactly the rate they require.
Well, Munster Reds, they'll be looking to take wickets in this power play. I think it's the only way they have of stopping the Northwest Warriors. It's not a massive total they're looking for. They've got to make it as difficult as possible early on. If they let the Northwest get away, then they can just push it around and take their singles. They want to put a bit of pressure on these bats.
And it's Liam McCarthy to start at the Sunday's Well end. And there's a slip in here for him too. Murray Cummins. Reds know they have to get wickets early on. Beautifully struck. Past the cover fielder, nobody on the boundary. Didn't quite time that, just a couple then for Gillespie.
Well, the intent of the shot was there. Timing not quite, it was more slapped through the covers rather than just timed and pushed through. It resulted in 2, but it was pulled up in front of the boundary.
Short down the leg side and wide, signalled by our umpire Sam Hollingshead. Don't get much leeway in this form of the game.
Well, this is the bridge between club cricket and international cricket, and it's certainly a step up for these players here.
Oh, that was off the edge of the bat, and the wicket keeper couldn't quite get there, but in fact it signalled 4-leg byes.
It definitely caught something on the way through, the umpire deciding that it was pad, not bat.
With the naked ear it sounded snicky, but let's see here. It was above the pads, that's for sure.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't a pad it came off.
Might have been a thigh pad. Anyway, the Warriors won't mind, they've moved to 13. Oh, good ball. Good length, plenty of lift.
Well, the thing there was he induced the drive, and it was a flashing drive came out, but it never caught up with the ball. Good length from McCarthy. He bowled well in the interprovincial series held in Sydney Parade earlier this year. And he's doing well for his club as well. He's certainly a man in form.
Bit of breeze coming up in the middle of the day here in Cork. Nice fresh breeze on a glorious sunny day. Temperature in the 20s. If you're anywhere near the Mardyke Cricket Ground, why not come along and watch some cricket today? We've got this match followed by the other two sides in this interprovincial series. Northern Knights against Leinster Lightning coming up sometime after 3 o'clock today. That's off the pad or the thigh pad, but there's a fielder just backward, so no run there. Yeah,
You see the batsmen have positive intent here in these first couple of overs, but they are very aware of not wishing to lose any wickets at this stage either. They just want to get ahead of the rate, make things a bit more comfortable, release some of the pressure, and don't let it build on the Northwest Warriors.
That's up in the air. It's cleared the infield, and the man at third came around and almost got there. It's a very good effort by Josh Manley to get to that one, but he had to make about 25 yards at least, and he couldn't quite get his hands underneath it.
Again, the bravery there is to go for one that you're going to catch just above the blades of grass, because when you're running at that speed, the fear is you miss it, it's going to bounce and your head is going to end up where it's going to bounce up to. So it was particularly brave to go for it, but he managed to smother it too. But would you say it was a chance? I wouldn't even say it was a half chance. He made so much room and it was such a difficult chance.
So 9 off that over, 15 for no wicket after 2. Doheny on 5, Gillespie on 5, and 5 extras. So Manley to continue. Cummins has come back in to slip, having vacated that position in the previous over. And Stephen Doheny, who's the danger man surely for the Reds, player who's done really well in the 50 over series. Solid opening bat. I'm sure he'll be thinking long innings here, keep the innings together. Right off the toe end of the bat, didn't quite get that one.
You know, he felt it in his hands when you go down and have a look at the end of the bat, just to make sure you haven't cracked it or reopened a crack. Shuddering through the fingers.
The target looks simple, but there's a few younger players in the side today, so not as much experience in this Northwest Warriors lineup. That's come out for the outside edge to short third. No run.
Well, Donny getting a bit squared up there, flying off the outside edge, but with short third man, no run.
Manley, big, tall bowler, very athletic. Can get a lot of lift from this pitch. And that one down the leg side and signalled by umpire Paul Rellens, moving the score along to 16.
Got the feeling Manley was just bending his back a little more there, and that caused the lack of accuracy, slipping down the leg side, adding to those extras. And that was one thing the Northwest Warriors did very well. Despite conceding 5 wides to 1 ball, there were only 11 extras in that innings.
Ooh, well, Doheny came down the wicket and Manley knocked it in short and completely fooled the batter.
It's a game of poker here at the moment. It's a bluff and counter bluff. Doheny shaping to come right down the wicket. Manley saw it and just dropped it a bit shorter, pulled his length back and just made it impossible for Doheny to get a clean shot on it.
Slip in, just 2 men out in the power play. One at mid-wicket and one at third. All the other fielders on the one. And that'll be 1 for the over. Bounced in high over the head of Steve Doheny.
The only decision for the umpires there was it 1 for the over or wide? It was very short.
And very high.
Yeah, it did sort of balloon a bit. I feel that Manley's lucky that he got away with that's your 1 for the over.
The Reds need all the luck they can get if they're to stay in this match. Oh, that's a clever shot. But will it be caught? Oh, dropped. That one definitely a catch dropped by Matty Ford as he made a lot of ground from backward square leg. And just a couple of runs for Doheny. A little bit fortunate. He was looking for the big 6.
Well, it was an inventive shot, but the fielder made a lot of ground to get there and then unfortunately just put it down. But just to note that McCarthy, who was backing up in the fielding, he made sure that the drop then didn't run over the boundary and saved a couple of runs.
Again, Doheny advancing and getting the single off the misfield in the covers, taking the score to 19 for no wicket after 3. Manley none for 10 from his 2, Doheny on 8 and Gillespie on 5.
Well, this is a very good start for the Northwest Warriors. They're exactly where they need to be, which is a run and a ball +1. And that's exactly where they are now. Munster Reds, well, would you say that was a chance? Well, yes, he'd made the ground, he got there, he got his hands to it, but just couldn't hang on. And that's the sort of thing that, well, the Munster Reds need all those to go their way if they're to stay in this particular game.
So McCarthy will continue from the Sunday's well end. This target of 1-2-1. Doheny just distracted by some movement in the field. Deep fielders square on the leg side and third man. That's turned to backward square leg and it's a wicket. Doheny is out. Big wicket for Liam McCarthy. The breakthrough for the Reds coming in the 4th over. 19 for 1. And the Warriors see Doheny caught for 8. And that's a very important wicket for the Munster Reds as they try to protect this slender target of 121.
Well, Matty Ford, he's certainly in the game. He had that half chance the over before. This time makes no mistake. Doheny just trying to clip it round the corner. Got it more aerial than he would have liked. Slightly off balance playing the shot. Got slightly underneath it, and he's just lifted it to Matty Ford, who's taken a nice, simple catch. And that sees the end of Doheny. And that's exactly what the Munster Reds needed. Wickets always slow, run rates down.
Yes, indeed. Fellow commentator John Kenny just saying it's very like the way Tector got out in the test match, turning the ball to the man backward of square. Now that was more of a leg slip than a man on the one, but it's the same kind of shot. And Doheny has perished, so it's Jared Wilson who has come in at number 3. I was wondering what their batting order would be today in the absence of Annie Chore and Michael Erlang. Not to mention, of course, like Brian, Hume and Young all away with the Irish team. So some encouragement for the Reds in the 4th over. Wide delivery, full toss, cracked away. Great start for Jared Wilson. Boundary off his first delivery.
Well, if you're going out into the middle, into provincial, and you were allowed to ask for the ball you wanted to face, that wouldn't have been far off what he'd asked for. Full toss outside off. He's got the full face of the bat, and it just powered its way to the boundary. Great start.
Short delivery, it's up in the air, should be the keeper's. Has he dropped it? Oh my word, what a mistake. That's an extraordinary let-off. Conor Fletcher doing the wicket-keeping duties for the Reds in the absence of Peter Moore, who's away on Irish duty. And that, you'd have to say, was pretty much a sitter.
Well, he called for it, he got that. I don't know if this breeze made a difference, but that's a catch you'd expect him to take 99 times out of 100.
And McCarthy with a great delivery on the follow-up. Beating the edge. Although it's signalled as one for the over.
Well, McCarthy disappointed at the drop catch. You feel he just got some of his frustration out with that delivery, dropping it short.
Nicely punched away towards third man by Jared Wilson. Gets a couple.
Well, Wilson is almost playing the role of a pinch hitter at the moment. He's come in and he's tried to hit and hit big. No real need for it at the moment for the Warriors, but that's maybe his natural game, and maybe trying to get ahead of the rate or improving their run rate.
Straight delivery, big ask from all over the pitch, but umpire Sam Hollingshead is not convinced, probably thinking it was going down leg side.
Here we see it again. Oh, a lot of movement there. That probably was missing leg stump by another stump, but you could see why McCarthy went up. But too much movement, and after 4 overs, the score is still a runner ball +1, which is exactly what the Northwest require. 25 for 1 off 4.
Gillespie not yet settled, just 5 runs to his name from 8 deliveries. Cummins still in at slip. Munster Reds have to balance attack with defence here, but they know they have to keep taking wickets to have any chance of protecting this 120 target.
There are just too many strong batsmen in all four of these provincial sides that if you're not taking wickets, then you're going to be in trouble.
Mick Granger on for the Reds. Very extravagant stroke from Gillespie. A lot of life in the pitch, as we've been saying, and that lift beating Gillespie on the outside.
You almost get the feeling that Gillespie's trying to hit himself into form. He needs to find one good smack away through the covers, and then he'll feel a lot better. But at the moment, he just looks a little tentative.
And that one just calmly played towards cover for a single. Rotating the strike, just what the doctor ordered for Aaron Gillespie.
That's more of what his team actually needs. They don't need the big hits at the moment. They just need to get through to 10 overs with plenty of wickets in hand and just slowly bringing down that total, that run rate, that runs required.
Did well to get over that one. Got up quite quickly.
Signalled as a no ball by Paul Reynolds.
Overstepping from Granger. So a couple of runs there to the Warriors. And a free hit for Aaron Gillespie.
This could be exactly what he does need to get his mood right and just to feel it a bit more in form.
Second fielder in the deep on the leg side. Third has come up inside the circle. Gillespie did well to keep it down, but just a single to the deep square leg.
Well, it was another short ball and he managed to get right on top of it. Not quite a tennis shot, but it was right up there at chest level. And he played it down nicely.
Gillespie moves to 7. Wilson also on 7. 29 for 1 in the 5th. And good running between these two. Anything dropping in short, they're scampering between the wickets quite quickly. Leg by that time, off the thigh pad of Jared Wilson. Big jet flying overhead on its way to Cork Airport as we bring you this Rario T20 series from the Mardyke. Playing and missing is something both these batsmen have done so far. The end of Mike Granger's first over. Score goes to 30 for 1 off 5. And that run rate still at 6. Just what the doctor ordered.
Well, Gillespie again, he opened himself up and cleared his front foot. He's looking to get some power onto the ball, but at the moment he may be better off just concentrating on getting bat on ball with some timing. Can often be just as effective as the massive, great big hits that we've seen today. Nicholas Damsgaard, first over of this match. Well, what a way to start this festival that was. 14 off the first over with 6-4-4. Once he perished, it's sort of the rest of the Munster Reds innings, well, never really took off. That's why they're trying to defend just 120.
So Nikolai Damsgaard coming on from the Sunday's Well end to replace Liam McCarthy, the man who introduced himself to this T20 series in such fine style. 4-6-4, but quickly out for 14.
Well, left arm spinner, just like Cian Robertson in the first innings, and he bowled exceptionally well for his side. And Damsgaard would be looking to do the same.
Pulled across the line, but a single to wide mid-on, where Ben Whitefield. Wilson to 8, Gillespie on strike. Tall player, Damsgaard. Could get some lift from this wicket. Just slightly over pitched on the leg side. Another single for Gillespie this time. It's just what the Northwest Warriors want. Just keep it ticking along. They'll be happy with singles. Blocked by the bowler to prevent a run there. Wilson hitting it straight back towards him. Both the deep fielders in this power play now on the leg side, deep mid-on and cow corner. That one's turned straight to square leg. And he's not out. It was a close call. Another mix-up between the batters. Wilson thought there was a run, sent back by Gillespie. Easy run down the ground for Wilson.
This is a good over from Damsgaard.
Tidy stuff. And after 6 overs, 33 for 1. Gillespie on 8, Wilson on 9. But the Reds need more wickets.
Indeed they do. Just one down at the moment, 33 for 1. Well, when the Reds had reached 33, they were 3 down, and, well, the heart had been ripped out of their batting at that stage. Rebuilding required, and they didn't even manage to get to the 20 overs. There was still 7 balls remaining when they were all out for 120, and that hasn't left Northwest with too much worries, unless the Reds can in fact break through and break through regularly.
Thank you, Craig. And also Stephen Alkin as well. He'll be back for the conclusion of this if it goes that far. John Kenny stepping back in, and Ben White coming into bowl for the first time from the Mardyke walk end. Irish international. Very tall man. Right arm spinner. Usually quite accurate as well. Tends to give batsmen plenty of trouble, pushes it through quite quickly as well.
Well, that's one of Ben's strengths, is his consistency and his height. He's definitely causing problems already.
He's on action. Ben White gets to his overs very quickly, rather than reminiscent of Andy McBride. Just gets on with it, turns. If you're not ready, you have to step away. Oh, just beats the outside edge. Well bowled. That was the wrong one. Left him. Flatter, shorter delivery. Quicker through. They're able to scramble through for a single.
Well, Jared Wilson didn't look the most comfortable, but this is fine bowling from White, as you'd expect, international bowler.
Yeah, just varying things up. Quicker balls. Bowling off breaks, leg breaks. Keeping the batsman guessing. That's a single to the sweeper at mid-wicket. One to the total, closer to what they're looking for, 121. You can see at the bottom right hand of your screen. Run rate required 6.5. It's little below that. They won't be panicking. They've got 9 wickets in hand. Keep the scoreboard ticking over. And that's what they've done now. Tidy first over from Ben White to end the 7th. 36 for 1.
Well, that's been a good couple of overs for the Munster Reds. Just the 6 runs from 2 overs. And as John said, the run rate just creeping up to 6.5, which won't worry anybody at this stage. But they need to be putting this pressure on Damsgaard to continue with his left arm spin. And it could be that Munster decide that this is the way to go. Take the pace off the ball and make the Northwest score their runs.
Damgard, we saw him coming into the Munster Reds squad earlier on today. Bludgeoned the first over for 14, and he was quickly out though. A big, tall Dutch big hitter. Left arm around the wicket. Speaking of big hits, that's gone way over the fielder's head to our right hand side, and a maximum for Jared Wilson takes him to double figures, and 42 for 1. That was a big hit.
Certainly was. Well, Nikolai getting some of his own treatment. That's the sort of shot he played in that first over. And this time Wilson has gone very big over the, what I would call a good sizable net here at the Sunday's Well end. But it hasn't proved effective on this occasion. And that's exactly what the Northwest are looking for. Just push that run total up.
Club cricketers, if we could find that ball, would probably hit the net, but these are international players, are on the cusp of it anyway. Jared Wilson quickly on to 17 from 18 deliveries. That was a big hit. And new balls, please. So will he be tempted to flight it up again? Bit flatter this time. Force it into the leg side for a single. That's good cricket. Get your 6. Keep that scoreboard ticking over. Just push it in for a 1. Give your partner a chance. Gillespie's okay. 9 runs from his 15th delivery so far. But Wilson looking very good out there. 18 runs, and that was a big hit from him. Previous delivery. 121 needed. Big roundhouse kind of action, hasn't he? Big tall man tries to bring it in from a big height.
And from quite wide as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't make himself any bigger, does he? He just kind of walks through his action rather than jumping and giving that extra height. I don't know whether that is something that he might look at, Damgard, but yeah, he comes from wide of the crease, doesn't he, with that left hand.
Angling in towards the stumps.
That's what bowled. Looking to cut.
Perfect example. He's just trying to stop them having any room, cramp the batsman up. The one he did leave hanging out there, well, that one disappeared a long way.
And keep the strike, Jared Wilson. Warriors happy enough with that. He moves to 19. And the score to 45 for 1 at the end of 8. 121 required. Northwest Warriors putting the Munster Reds into bat earlier on today. John Kenny, Stephen Alkin and Craig Senior bringing the commentary on this one. We'll be following it up with the Knights against Leinster Lightning. That's 3:30 our time, all on ICC.tv. Ben White's going to continue. So we've got spin at both ends now. Bowling the 9th over. It's a small target. 121 for victory. They'd have been looking for a lot more than that, but wickets fell quite quickly after the dismissal of Damgard for 14 and Nathan Maguire going for a 0. Oh, it's straight down the throat of the short cover fielder. Bump ball though. This time it's past his fingertips for a single.
Just a slight adjustment makes all the difference. The difference between a dot ball, pushing it out to the boundary for the single.
You played here before, Craig?
I haven't played here before.
I've been lucky enough to do. So we had two.
Must be a lovely place.
Oh,
to play.
two T20 games here a couple of years ago. Tries for the reverse sweep, and he's out. Finger up from Paul Reynolds, and that's an important wicket. Gillespie gone for 10, 46 for 2 now, and a bit of hope for the Warriors. Has just evaporated a little bit because their second man is gone with the score on 46.
Gillespie didn't look too settled at the crease today. Usually very assured there, but I don't know. Eventually, he went to play an unusual, unorthodox shot, as you see in T20. Well, he went down onto one knee to play the big hoik down to third man area, but instead made no contact, and he's out LBW. White picking up his first wicket, and that's the second wicket for the Munster Reds, and that will give them some hope.
Partnership of 25, taking the score from 19 for 1 to 46 for 2 now. We're in the 9th over. Gillespie gone for 10. Jared Wilson is still there. Yeah, just saying, got a chance to play down here. Scott Macbeth is next in, incidentally. Play a couple of back-to-back games here. Took me about 3 days to recover. But wonderful to be down here to play the Cork Taverners and also the County Kerry side, North Kerry I think it was. We won both. Took away the trophy. Never brought it back. Never played it again. But yeah, fabulous ground, great hospitality, and it's free in if you're around. Let the word be spread around. As the ball's just nicked around the corner from our new batsman. Scott Macbeth get off the mark straight away.
It's good to see a few spectators on the ground already. A few down from the Hills Cricket Club in Skerries. They've come down to see their club representatives on the various teams.
It's interesting to see how they're going to develop interprovincial cricket over the next couple of years, Craig, because obviously a lot of these players have been playing in front of big crowds at Lords and decent crowds in test matches, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, one-day international games as well in Chelmsford, but they get the crowds in. They just don't get the crowds here. So I just wonder, is the next step to actually start inviting and get people into the ground, build stands, all that kind of stuff. It's difficult for Cricket Ireland in that regard, in the fact that they have to build a pop-up stadium for, say, the England matches, the international games out of Malahide, and that costs them £1 million a pop. So that's not sustainable. It's the end of the 7th, incidentally, 49 for 2. What's your feeling?
Well, I like the New Zealand grounds. They have nice grass banks that have turned into terracing where you encourage families to come down for picnics and watch the cricket or whatever else. And it's just a nice way to view the game. I think the idea of building a great big 10,000-seater stadium might be just beyond Cricket Island at this stage, or beyond Cricket Island's needs. So it's kind of difficult, as you say. It's just so expensive to bring Malahide up to that 10,000-seater. $1 million a time. That's a lot of money to be spent when it could be spent on the grassroots, or I'm sure Cricket Island have other things to spend that money on. But it's the only way they can get the gate receipts for those big games without a dedicated national stadium.
Yeah, I've been to some of those New Zealand grounds. I went to Hamilton. McCarthy comes in and bowls. Once again, they're going to push for the second, perhaps. And that's the 50 up in the 10th over. 50 for 2. Wilson on 21, Macbeth on 2. Make that 3 now, having scored that single. McCarthy bowling. Munster Reds made 120, so 121 for victory. Yeah, I was in Nelson when Ireland beat West Indies back in 2015. Probably the best all-round display I thought that day. There's a wide. Best all-round display that day when they chased down the 300 with very little discomfort in the run chase. And a beautiful picture of John Mooney and Niall O'Brien walking off the ground together in celebration. Not just teammates, but friends as well. I thought it was one of wonderful moments, and it's one of my favourite moments of all time, sports-wise, I must say. Wonderful to be there. But you're right, the grass banks encourages families, and maybe that's what we should be looking at. Swing and a miss.
Yes, rather than sort of even the players' families. Normally dad comes down or mum comes down, but if you could get the entire extended family down because there's a picnic and there's something for the kids to do, etc., I think that's the way forward, and it brings cricket to more people.
We're spoiled for the weather at the moment, so it's not always like this, folks, here. We're blessed with it for this little festival that's in the air. That should be taken, and it is. And another wicket falls, and McCarthy celebrates. And Wilson's gone for 21. High hanging ball, but it allowed enough time for the fielder down at third just to move in from the ropes and take a simple catch. So 51 for 3 now. And just in a little pickle here now, chasing that 121 for victory.
Well, McCarthy, he puts it short enough that it flies off the edge of the bat down to third. And the fielder, well, he set himself a couple of times, makes the catch safely. And with 3 wickets down, well, will there be some jitters in the northwest tent? There'll certainly be some encouragement in the field for the Munster Reds now. They feel that they're back in this game and that this game could still turn their way.
Well, the scoreboard hasn't ticked over yet, but it is 51 for 3 now. 9.3 overs has been bowled. Wilson's gone for 21. Macbeth is still there on 3. 121 needed. McCarthy's bowled well. 2 for 13 in his 2.3 overs thus far. I think that's McClintock out there, is it? No. It is McClintock, yeah. Big hitting Graham McClintock. It's difficult to see their numbers from where we are, and obviously we got Sun inside our little booth here, so apologies if we're not recognising the numbers at times. But Granger taking that catch, as you can see on the caption on the screen, gone for 21 from 27. Nicely bowled. Right up there. Nothing McClintock could do with that, except tap the bat on the ground and see it go through to the wicketkeeper.
Well, this is an important stage of the game now.
Shane Getgett, they're saying. It's actually Shane Getgett's the next one in. I didn't think it was McClintock, actually, to be quite honest. Again, apologies about that. McClintock's a bigger man, although Getgett is a big unit himself. Oh, slower ball, well bowled. Deceived the batsman completely. He was expecting that to come on, it didn't. Standing captain today, no Andy McBrien.
You're just seeing a bit of chirp from the Munster fielders now. There's a bit of encouragement, a few more clapping the bowl up, a few more voices. And you do get the feeling that Munster now feel that they're right in this game.
Yeah, another wicket will make a big difference. That ends the 10th, so midway through the reply. 51 for 3. They need 70 for victory in the last 10 overs. This is the Northwest Warriors batting card. Doheny, Gillespie all got a start. Gerald Wilson nicely caught by Granger in the deep for 21. Macbeth and Getgate having to come together now to rebuild this innings. There's still batting to come. Melly can hit a big ball, and McClintock, we know, likewise. And here's the bowling figures.
Well, the Munster Reds, Liam McCarthy really is doing a super job for his side. 2 for 13 now, and only going at 4.3. And the other wicket taker, Ben White, 1 for 7 off his 2. And just the 9 extras so far. But this is a good performance by Munster. They didn't set the Northwest the biggest target, but they're certainly defending it with vigour.
It's their home ground, of course. Great to be down in what some would consider the real capital of Ireland, Cork City, just on the edges of the city. I was here last night up in Blarney, had a nice meal. It was a very nice hotel too, just running off the face of the bat to add one to the total and get closer to that target. We're here for all 3 days and all 6 games over the next couple of days. Live on ICC.tv, brought to you by HPV Studios in Dublin. Not just cricket, I do swimming and water polo as well, and rugby and a few other sports alongside that, including hockey. A busy old summer for the HPV boys. Full credit to them. They were in Oak Hill yesterday and then made the long journey down to Cork for today's game, bringing you these live pictures. Craig Senior, John Kenny, Stephen Alkin in commentary for this first game. 121 needed for victory, and at 53 for 3 in the 11th, we've got a bit of a game on here.
Well, from a stage where they needed to run a ball, well, they now need 68 from 57 balls, and that's the gap that Munster will want to start stretching and making bigger and putting more doubt and more things to think about.
Oh, should be out. Oh, it's just gone over his head. Oh, it's pumped straight down the ground to the fielder at Tyrone Kane at long off. But he would probably need to be somewhere around Damgard or Ben White's height to have got that. He just went over the top of his head.
Well, the slog sweep being employed, and only just clearing the fielder there. This time they go on the ground. And again, cross the rope, successive boundaries, and that will really help the Northwest.
Yeah, just that old cliche, loosens the shackles, doesn't it? 2 boundaries in a row. Worked for Kane the first time, couldn't get it. That one all along the ground. Beat him. There's a bit of a hill down there, and as soon as it catches the top of the hill, it just speeds away on the dry outfield. A lot more air on that one. Able to dig it out and walk through for a single to end the 11th. 61 for 3, 62 for 3. Now in pursuit of 121 for victory.
Well, with 9 overs to go, the Northwest really are in control here. But it wouldn't take much, an over or 2, with wickets in them, to really get the Northwest thinking about this total. But at the moment, quite serene. They haven't felt the need to go for the massive, massive hits that carry such risk with it. Any big hits they have had have been, well, mainly along the ground. There was that one big 6 early on. But by and large, accumulation of runs rather than big blows.
Change the field now for bowler at this end. It's pulled away, and as soon as they pull the fielder in, it goes straight up and over his head for a bludgeoning 4 for Macbeth. Manley swapping ends, changed the fielder. The batsman said, right, if he's going to come in, I'm going to put it over his head.
Quite clever batting there, and it was the ball he wanted. Just outside the off stick, he pulled it across.
I don't think the bowler will be too concerned about that. That's what he's aiming for, obviously, is to bring that man in from the boundary inside the circle, probably laying a trap. He certainly fell for it, but it was a really thumping hit from Macbeth. Just knocked Manley's figures for a moment. Looked pretty good before that. Still not bad in the context of a T20 game, or IP20. 66 for 3 now in the 12th over. Pulled away again. That's the area he's targeting, isn't it? He's certainly, not great fielding down there. Ball bouncing beyond the despairing dive, mid-wicket, and another 4.
Well, the placement does the fielder here. There's too much ground to make up. Nathan Maguire. He's running round the boundary over by the clubhouse, but mistimes the dive and it gets past him, and it's 4 more onto the total, and suddenly 51 required.
Yeah, he didn't dive until the ball was past him. It wasn't great fielding down there by Maguire. He'd be disappointed with that, although he may say that the ball did rear up in front of him. Moral victory for the batsmen there. They've pushed the man back down, back onto the cow corner boundary. So he's seen him off. And Macbeth is enjoying himself out there now. 22 from 12. This is the bit of acceleration they needed. Oh, that's in the air. There should be the wicket keepers. He dropped one previously. Not this time. It's a good catch, actually. Over his shoulders. Had to turn around. And Manley gets his man. 4 down now in the 12th over. 71 for 3. And Manley gets his first wicket. And they got rid of Getgate. That's not really the man they want. Scott Macbeth is on 22. Getgate's gone now. But it is another wicket.
Well, again with 4 down now. There'll be a few questions in the Northwest Warriors sideline. They need somebody to hang around and just provide support. This one straight up in the air. After the one he put down earlier, which was a lot easier than that, he did really well on that catch coming over the shoulder, and this breeze has picked up. But he was safe enough, and that's the wicket of Getgate. He goes for 1 off 5.
Partnership of 20 for the 4th wicket. Took it from 51 to 71. That was a good catch from Fletcher. He dropped an absolute dolly not so long ago. But that one, a difficult swirling breeze. Had to take it over his shoulders. You would have actually said that he should have been catching that because obviously he's got the big gloves, but they can go down as well. So Cameron Melly is our next man in with the score on 71. And this is tightening up ever so slightly now. Still very much in the Munster Reds' hands. Just need 50 now from the remaining overs. Cameron Melly comes to the crease. Ooh, off the shoulder of the bat. That could go for 4. Yeah. Nothing the fielder can do about that. Whizzed away to the boundary. And Melly will be happy enough to get off the mark with a ball that came off the shoulder of the bat. That ends the 12th. 75 for 4.
Well, he may have been a little fortunate with it coming off the shoulder of the bat, but no slip in place. Very hard set of field for that delivery, for that shot. 4 runs gets him off the mark. It helps his team. And there'll be a bit of stress relief there. 75 for 4 now off 12 overs. Well, 46 required from 48 balls. They're ahead of the game, as they have been since the first power play.
Damgard coming on for his last over from the Mardyke walk end. It's Gareth Delaney, in fact. Damgard has come up on our screen, but it's actually Delaney. Thanks for the correction. Number 64. 6 wickets in hand, 8 overs to go. Just about a run of ball for victory.
Well, they've brought Delaney on now. It could be he bowls out through to the end if it's going well for him. But it's certainly another option for the Munster Reds, and one they're going to explore right now.
A leg spinner, and there's a bit of cloud cover and a bit of wind around, so you try and drift this away from the right-hander. Macbeth looking well set on 23 now. Just nudge that into the leg side and walk through. Melly taking guard for the first time with the Sunday's well end of the ground. Would you put a slip in place for Delaney?
It's an interesting question, John, and with the state of the game the way it is, and Munster do need wickets, it may be the way to go.
That's a wide down the leg side. Can be a bit erratic at times. Gareth Delaney. He's a top-class international bowler and batsman as well. I mean, not that he hits a big ball too, but in the bowling department can be just a little erratic. Slightly changed the field there now. We've got another one in the circle. Much flatter delivery. That should go all the way to the boundary for 4. Thank you very much, says the batsman. Melly just swings on his hips and works into the boundary for another 4, and 4 closer to the target.
Well, Delaney just dropping that one in short. Melly onto it very quickly. Can't bowl that short to individual players. He might get away with that in a club game or two. It may even get you a wicket occasionally. But when you're playing against players of this class, they're going to put that away. Much better delivery from Delaney that time. Better line, better length. Dot ball the result.
He's trying to rip his fingers through that. Head on hand time for Delaney. Well, that was a good delivery, but they've got a single from it. Melly quickly to 9. Two Macbeths playing today, Ryan and Scott. Scott on 23. Well, they're in the position now, say that with 12.5 overs gone, just to run a ball will do them, and then maybe hit the odd 4, keep the wickets intact. No need to be suicidal at this particular juncture, but they're getting close to it. Big appeal. Paul Reynolds is not interested. That ends the 13th over. And it's 83 for 4 now. They're chasing 121 for victory. Macbeth on 24, Melly on 9. And I'm going to hand you over to the conclusion of the game to Stephen Alkin after a word from you, Craig.
Thank you very much, John. Well, Paul Reynolds was unmoved there. Delaney, well, he was more in hope than expectation. But at this stage, with 6 wickets in hand, 7 overs to go, and just 38 more required, well, Northwest Warriors certainly in box position at the moment. And that's reflected in the fact that the Munster Red skipper Tyrone Kane, he's turned to Liam McCarthy. He's 2 for 13 off his 3. Can he do the trick now?
Well, he really needs something from McCarthy now. Hi again, Craig, as we come to the conclusion of this first match of this 6-game festival over 3 days here in the Mardyke. Munster Reds have done okay, but they've had a couple of expensive overs and they're finding wickets hard to get. Can McCarthy do the trick? Oh, that one's ballooned up over the wicket keeper, 4 wides. Disaster really for the Reds. 5 to be added to the score.
Well, you see McCarthy coming in and just see just how short this had to be to get it to balloon over not only the bat but the keeper. Runs away for 5 wides. Well, that really is a big help for the Warriors.
That runs to win, drops to 33. Balls remaining 41. Wickets or bust for the Reds. That's a better length.
Much better from McCarthy there. Line and length just right. Getting it to rise over the bat. Through to the keeper. going to be asking questions. He's just 4 balls left in his spell now. 4 balls to influence this game.
That was a good delivery. Straight to mid-on, who came in very quickly, Josh Manley, to save the run. Apart from that ballooning wide, this has been a good over.
McCarthy's bowled well again. I'm sure the national selectors be looking at him.
That's a big one. Over the fence for a big 6. Scott Macbeth, the man in charge here for the Warriors, moves to 30.
Well, Macbeth from the Brigade Club, and he's showing just how clean a hitter he can be. That one was outside off stick and gave him the freedom to let his arms loose, and as a result Aidan Sievers has had to bring on what is in effect the 5th ball used in this game.
5 sixes, I think, and 4 of them have left the ground. Most of them in the direction of those tennis players who I hope wear helmets when they're playing. Wouldn't like to be over there.
Oh, I do think Damgard's 6, possibly sailors on the River Lee, were in more danger than the tennis players for that one. That one went a very long way. Anyway, McCarthy to continue.
Just a couple of balls left in his spell. That's off the splice, but there's nobody at mid-wicket. And it drops harmlessly into no man's land. Just a single.
Well, with that 6 and even with that single target remaining, just 26 now as we come to the end of McCarthy's spell and the end of the 14th over.
Nobody saving one on the leg side except for a deepish mid-on. And that's just calmly played. Backward of point. And the Northwest Warriors well in control here at the end of 14 overs. Macbeth has moved to 31. Melly's on 10. It's 96 for 4. And that's McCarthy's day done. 2 for 26 of his 4 overs.
Well, Tyrone Kane now, he's going to ask Gareth Delaney to continue from the Mardyke walk end. And at this stage, it's a matter of playing all your cards and hoping you have something of a winning hand. He's calling on one of his more experienced, and the leg spin, of course. He'll be hoping, hope against hope, that Delaney can break through here. These two now putting together quite a partnership, and it's taking the game away from the Munster Reds.
Delaney has dropped a couple of balls short. He has to avoid that. Just 2 men on the boundary on the leg side. Bowling to Melly here. Oh, a little bit of a touch there. Certainly hit something on the way through. Stifled appeals from wicketkeeper.
It definitely hit on the way through, but it wasn't a very woody sound. I suspect that came off the pad or even the back of his leg.
Good encouragement for Delaney. A couple of very good deliveries at the start of this, the 15th over. And marching down the ground to slash that one to cow corner. A big 6 for Melly.
That brings the 100 up for the Northwest Warriors in this, the 15th over. And they've got to be feeling very comfortable now. Nice clean hit, wasn't it, Stephen?
Lovely. Decisive. Used his feet really well. Got to the pitch. And there's nobody out there. really good performance so far by the Northwest Warriors. They've been very good in the field. They've come out and been decisive with the bat. And another 4 races away for Melly to bring him into the 20s. It's a good little partnership, this.
Yeah, this is the decisive partnership, and on this occasion you can see Delaney, he drops that one in just a little bit too short.
He's better to bowl full than short, I think, on this wicket. A full toss just goes straight down.
Anything short is just sitting up and asking to be played out to the leg side. And the Northwest batsmen are not refusing such invitations.
Final ball of the 15th over. And that one is driven straight down the ground, and there's nobody at deep mid-on. Past Tyrone Kane for another boundary to Melly, who is joining the party here. His third 4 to go with that big 6. He moves to 24. The score to 110 for 4. 15 overs gone. It's only a matter of time before the Warriors get their first points in this Rario T20 Championship.
Well, these two have just ripped the game away from Munster, just as Munster was starting to feel that they had some hope, that they were taking wickets, that they could defend 120. Well, these two have come together. They've hit cleanly, they've hit boundaries, and they've pounced on any Munster mistake. And as a result, they find themselves just 11 away from victory now. Partnership of 39 between these two.
McCarthy has been bowled out. Now it's Manley's 4th over. Hit so forcibly to the captain, Tyrone Kane, at mid-off that there was no run. Great sound off that.
Yes, almost hit with too much power. Tyrone Kane, he got down into the long barrier position very early.
.31 off 20 so far for Macbeth, and he turns that to deep backward. Couple of runs and he's home quite easily.
Well, that's a super piece of alert running. He took on the arm and the accuracy of it, and they get 2 more for that.
Just 9 to win. Number of balls not really relevant. 6 wickets in hand. And that one is cracked past the mid-on fielder for another boundary. It's great hitting from Macbeth and Melly in this match-winning partnership.
Well, they've absolutely forced Munster onto the back foot, forced Munster to be very quiet in the field now. I don't think there's any doubt where the result is going. All that matters now is net run rates.
That one short and just lifted to third. And they have time to come back for the second. Another 2 for Macbeth. 118 for 4. They're just 3 away from victory in the 16th over. And really the realistic target on this ground is looking like around 160 to be competitive. Pulled to backward square leg. Single for Macbeth. He goes to 40. Top scorer in the game so far. Impressive innings, just 24 deliveries. Melly 24 off 12, that's a strike rate of 200. And we're just 2 runs away from the Northwest Warriors winding up this match with just 1 delivery left in the 16th over. And it's lifted over the wicketkeeper and away for a 6. An emphatic end to this first match in the Rario T20 series. Wonderful 6 by Melly, taking his score to 30. That partnership has made 54 off 25 deliveries in just 18 minutes. What a flourish. When it looked like the Munster Reds might make it difficult for the Warriors, they have raced away to their target. 125 for 4 of exactly 16 overs, and the points go Northwest.
Well, if you're going to pick a shot to end a T20 with, 6 lifting it over the slip cordon, if there had been one, going for 6 runs. In fact, I was very impressed with Cameron Melly. He played some unorthodox shots, but he also played very straight as well. It was a fine knock by him, and he gave fine support to Scott Macbeth, and they've seen the Warriors home by 6 wickets.
Well, a slightly abridged 20 over match here. Warriors winning by 6 wickets, Munster Reds making 120 all out in 18.3 overs. Northwest Warriors coming back with that wonderful partnership at the end between Scott Macbeth and Cameron Melly. 50 partnership, giving them the points, and a great start to this week of festival cricket here in the Mardyke. Warriors winning by 6 wickets. Coming up later today, we're going to have the Northern Knights against the Leinster Lightning at about 3:30. So do join us later for that. But for now, here is a look at the Munster Reds card.
Well, that first over from Damgard, it was very destructive and it seemed to set a tone. But when he got out for 14, it started problems for the Munster Reds, and they never really got going. No real partnerships, and they relied on Delaney and McCarthy to get them up to any sort of total at all. They managed to reach 120. You see the partnerships. Biggest partnership of the day for the Munster Reds, just 22. And you can't really build a great total when that's the case.
And the bowling. Well, excellent bowling by Trent McKeegan, 4 for 24 in 3.5 overs. Wonderful spell from Cian Robertson too, with 2 for 17 off his 4. And Zimmerman with a wicket, and Ryan Macbeth also with a couple. Very good bowling performance by the Warriors, who won the toss and decided to field, and it's proved to be the correct decision here.
Yes, we were full of questions earlier on as to whether it was the right decision to field first, but he's been absolutely justified in that decision by the way it went. Melly with not out 30 off 15 was most impressive with the bat. Scott Macbeth, he scored 40 off just the equivalent of 4 overs. So between those two, that partnership of 54 is what finally brought the Northwest Warriors home without too much concern. And there you see, whereas the Reds had one partnership of 22 and nothing else bigger, this partnership at the end, at the bottom of your screen, 54 between Macbeth and Melly. That's the big difference between the two. But Gillespie and Gerard Wilson also putting on 27. They were a big help to getting the Northwest off to a good start. The Munster bowling, well, McCarthy seemed to be the pick of the bowlers, and he picked up 2 wickets for 26. But by and large, there were just too many loose deliveries that allowed the Northwest to reach their total. And in fact, 15 extras as well meant that instead of chasing 121, they were only looking for 106 off the bat.
And intriguingly, only 1 over for Mike Granger, who was only hit for 4 runs in that over. So that's a surprise that he got so little with the ball. There's the match summary. Munster Reds always probably knew they didn't have enough with 120. Northwest Warriors went about their task superbly. And at the end, it's the Northwest Warriors with the victory by 6 wickets. Next game here, 3:30 this afternoon. Northern Knights against the Leinster Lightning. That should be quite a matchup. 2 of the strongest teams in the country coming together. You'll be able to watch that live here on the streaming service at 3:30 in the company of John Kenny, Craig Sr. and myself, Stephen Alkin. We look forward to your company then, and until then, it's bye for now.